Hola, necesitas sacar el paquete de gramática porque hoy vamos a tomar apuntes sobre el subjuntivo. Whenever you hear me say el subjuntivo, I'm actually talking about the subjunctive. Now maybe you've never heard about the subjunctive before, because it's kind of a thing that we don't use a whole lot in English or bring a lot of attention to. But today we're going to be learning a little bit about what the subjunctive is, as well as how to form the subjunctive of regular verbs in the present tense. So let's start off talking about the subjunctive tense in English first. Some impersonal expressions show uncertainty that something will happen. So whenever we are uncertain something will happen in both English and Spanish, such expressions are followed by verbs in the subjunctive. Here's an example of the subjunctive in English. It's important that he leave. Here is the exact same sentence in Spanish. Es importante que él salga. You'll notice I have my expression of uncertainty, es importante. I have this word que, which is really important. I have a new subject, and then I have this word salga, which probably, hopefully, looks a lot like the usted command form of salir. But let's go back and talk about the subjunctive a little bit more in English. The subjunctive is actually not a tense, it's what we call a mood. Tense refers to when an action takes place, like the past, present, or future, while mood is really talking about how the speaker feels about the action. The subjunctive mood is rarely used in English, but it is widely used in Spanish, like all the time. Here are a couple more examples of the subjunctive in English. Let's take a look at the first one. The doctor recommends that he take the pills with food. So, we're going to be using the subjunctive to suggest that someone else do something. In most sentences that use the subjunctive, there are two parts connected by the word que. Each part has a different subject, and the verb of the second part is in the subjunctive mood. You're going to soon realize that the subjunctive mood is a lot like usted or ustedes commands. Let's look at un ejemplo. He wants us to leave. Él quiere que nosotros salgamos. Or you could also say, él quiere que nosotros vayamos. You'll notice I have subject 1. I have a verb that is a suggesting verb like wants. I have the word que. I have a subject change. And I have a verb that looks a lot like an ustedes command. It's got an opposite ending. You can also make suggestions or demands using expressions such as es bueno or es necesario, followed by que, and a verb in the subjunctive mood, like it's es necesario que tú aprendas a conducir. It's necessary that you learn to drive. Now, there are lots of reasons why you should use the subjunctive, lots of situations when you would use the subjunctive, lots of phrases that we're going to use as a subjunctive, but let's not focus on those yet. Today, we want to focus on how you form the subjunctive. With the verbs, you're going to go to the yo form, drop the o, and add the opposite ending. This is exactly like when we were doing ustedes commands. Here, you can see we have the verb hablar, an AR verb, in the subjunctive mood. Hable, hables, hable, hablemos, hablen. We have the verb tener in the subjunctive mood. Tenga, tengas, tenga, tengamos, tengan. And the verb escribir in the subjunctive mood. Escriba, escribas, escriba, escribamos, escriban. Please note that both the yo form and the usted el ella form are actually the same. Aquí tengo un ejemplo. Es imprescindible que. Remember I told you when we learned the vocab that those were going to be phrases that we would use with the subjunctive mood? Es imprescindible que hables claramente. It is imperative that you speak clearly. Verbs that have spelling changes, like care verbs, in the usted command form, and verbs that have irregular yo forms like cargar, are maintain these changes in the subjunctive mood. Aquí tengo unos ejemplos de algunos verbos irregulares en el subjuntivo. Criticar, the C changes to QU. Investigar, the G changes to GU. Penalizar, the Z changes to a C. Those first three were examples of our cargar verbs. Now we have proteger, changes to proteja, the G changes to a J. Or extinguir, extinga, we get rid of that U. So just know that a lot of times irregular verbs are going to continue to be irregular, even in the subjunctive mood. Aquí tengo dos ejemplos. Es raro que un músico critique su música, and es necesario que él proteja a los ciudadanos. Don't worry, we will be spending a lot of time going over this, clarifying, practicing, etc. Your main goal today is to understand how to form the subjunctive mood, and we will focus more on when you use it in the future. Don't forget to take your Google quiz once you're done taking notes.